Well, with that being said, I just wanted to highlight a significant person
Let's do it.
for Black History. Ruby Bridges.
Ruby Bridges.
Ruby Bridges. She 65 years ago was the first person to integrate into an all-white school down in New Orleans. Met with complete objection by the locals that were living there. Full-grown adults going after a kid. You know, the
Right.
fact that she had to be taken to the school every day with martial guard to protect her
Ridiculous.
from adults who were spitting at her and shouting obscenities at her and throwing things at her. A 6-year-old at that. Like, could you imagine?
Right.
Could you imagine somebody shouting obscenities at a 6-year-old? Because
Because there's going to be no like post traumatic anything for them from that. You know,
right,
it's like
the things people have to go through, you know, like it's crazy. But the interesting thing about it is that she's 70 years old right now, which means she's younger than the current sitting president, which means that there were still people alive from a time where segregation was
right.
accepted,
Right.
which is crazy that like it wasn't that long
Which
ago.
I feel is what still carries on some of that mentality,
Yeah.
and I think that's part of the slow process of moving away from it is
Yeah.
because you have so many people who they went through it. They may still firmly buy in, right?
Right.
So when they have kids, what did they do?
Yeah.
You know,
Pass it
people talk
down.
about indoctrination,
Yeah.
but like they pass that hate down. That's not that hate isn't in you.
Yeah.
It's taught to you.
It's taught. It's a learned behavior.
And so that gets taught, and then some of those who are taught that grow older and grow out of it, right?
Right.
They realize that that's bullshit,
And they reject it.
and I applaud that growth,
Yeah.
and you know that means that they're likely not to pass it to their own kids.
Right. They broke the
But there
cycle.
are some that embrace it, and thus you still have people who are younger of age, you know, in their 20s that have the same mentality because that's what they were taught.
That's what they were
and,
taught.
You know, it's ridiculous, and that's why I said it's slowly growing. I know it's less than half the country, way less, but you know, unfortunately, it's still a large enough population that it's influential on some.
Right. And especially because they're, you know, the controlling stake. So
And you think about the importance of what you were just talking about, of her having to endure that abuse and that torture, because that's what it was.
right.
It was mental torture, but it was
Right.
torture.
Right.
I mean, it was physical too, right? They were spitting, throwing things. So, but to deal with that, to take that step, that importance, and the significance behind it. Like you and I may not have attended the same school as we did, had that step
Had that
never
not
been
happened.
taken.
No, that's so true. That's so true.